Today we're going to talk about projects, and I think understanding the project area, understanding the magnetic storyline, is maybe the most confusing part of Final Cut. And the reason is because instead of working with tracks, as editing programs used to do, they now work with a magnetic storyline with connected clips. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The project area, the magnetic storyline, and connected clips. So first, here's a few points to understand. A project is your timeline. A project is where you're creating the story and you're building your timeline. The project area is a magnetic timeline made up of your main storyline and connected clips. And we're going to talk about all of that over the next however long this takes. So the best thing to do is we'll just start a new project. I always create a new event called projects, and now I will create a new project. File, new project. I'm going to name this Meet the Chickens. I will often use automatic settings to set the video based on the first video clip properties. And for most of you, this is the best way to do it. You can also use custom settings. This is if you shoot in a frame size or a frame rate that you don't actually want to deliver in. So for most of our projects, we're going to shoot in 30p and deliver in 30p. However, let's say you shot your video in 4K, but you want it delivered in HD, 1920, 1080. Let's say you know some of your video was shot on a GoPro in 60p, some of your video was shot in 24p, some of it was 30p, it's a mix, but you know you want to deliver in 30p. You can just come down here and deliver in 30. Another side note is 30 for our purposes is 29.97. It's just easier to say 30, but don't get fooled by 30, 29.97. If this gets confusing, if words like 60p, 30p don't make sense, just use the automatic settings and you're going to be fine. Okay, so you've started your project. One thing I also sometimes like to do is just to clean up my space here. Close down my inspector window. I also have my effects here. I'll close down my effects window. Just give myself a little extra room to move. So here is our project window. See this dark gray bar, the dark gray line right here. This is called your primary storyline. By default, if you bring a clip down, it's going to land. Doesn't matter where you put it. It's going to land right in your primary storyline. You bring it over here, doesn't matter. You'll also notice that as I bring it down, it magnetically connects to the last clip you laid down. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but that's the magnetic idea. So you have your primary storyline. This is where you build your story. And imagine this, the way I like to think about it is imagine this is a highway. And this highway is taking you from point A to your destination. You just drive straight down this highway to get to your destination. And this highway obeys a certain set of rules. And these rules are really important. Rules like you only have one lane down this highway. Rules like it's, as we saw earlier, it's magnetic. There's going to be no gaps in this highway. So this dark bar, your primary storyline, is your main highway. Everything outside of it is what you're looking at as you drive down the road. It's all that, it's all the scenery. It's all the pretty stuff. It's the trees, it's all the interesting stuff, the interesting historical things you pass by, whatever it is, you're passing by them as you're driving down this highway. And this light gray area obeys a completely different set of rules. And essentially it has no rules. If you have come from one of the other editing programs, it all used to be divided into tracks. You'll notice there's really no tracks here. So, for example, I can put, if I have a clip, I can put it above the storyline, I can put it below the storyline, I can move them all below the storyline, we won't see them. But I can move these clips anywhere I want. As soon as I put them onto this primary storyline, it magnetizes to the last clip that's on the storyline. You'll notice there's no magnetic happening here. I can put it anywhere I want. Above, below, doesn't matter. So let's see this in action. I did this silly little interview about chickens. And let's watch how this works. I'm just going to dump the whole thing onto the storyline. All right, hello. We're going to do a quick tour of the chicken coop. These are the 6 chickens. What a lot of people don't know is that chickens are actually the fastest land animal. Faster than the cheetah, faster than the gazelle. Reaching top speeds of over 70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun the cheetah. It can outrun the gazelle. Okay, I can see right there's a part I want to cut where I repeat. So
faster than the cheetah, faster than the gazelle.
I don't need that.
Yeah, reaching.
Okay, so now I'm going to cut this. I use Command B to cut. Okay, now here's where we see how the magnetic storyline works. I'm going to find where I want to start it.
Chickens are actually the fastest land animal.
As I pull the end of this clip to where I want it to stop, it drags everything behind with it. It's called a ripple edit because, like a wave, it ripples out and it affects everything downstream of the edit. So, you can see everything past this edit is moving. Even if I add other clips, just randomly, like an out of focus one. As I move these clips, everything behind it is affected. So they're magnetized together.
Chickens are actually the fastest land animal. Yeah, reaching top speeds.
No need for the yeah. So let's bounce in. That was Command +++ to zoom in.
Land animal reaching top speeds.
So now I'm shortening this clip. I'm trimming this clip. Bottom line is these clips are magnetized or stuck together, and as you trim one clip, it affects the clips around it. Okay, so I say... let me finish
chickens
this up.
are actually the fastest land animal, reaching top speed. Land animal, reaching top speeds of over 70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun the cheetah, it can outrun the gazelle, and it's doing all that on only 2 legs, which is on only 2 legs.
Great, we'll cut that. And what I'm doing here is I'm just grabbing the end of the clip. I see this yellow. Rather than selecting the whole clip, which turns yellow, I'm just selecting the end, which turns yellow, and clicking and dragging. Almost all of my editing work, and there's a million different tools you can use, but almost all of my editing work is Command B, which separates it into 2 clips. It's a blade, B for blade. Clicking and deleting and dragging. That's almost everything I do. Okay, so I said it's a magnetic storyline. There's no gaps. The clips have to stick together or be magnetized together. I'm just going to take a little tangent. Don't get confused, but that's not altogether true depending on what tool you're using. This is my select tool. A is the shortcut key for it. I'm here 90% of the time. However, if I hit P, my position tool, it begins to work differently. Now I can actually position my clip anywhere I want it. It's no longer magnetized. The other way to create a gap, and I do this all the time, is Option W. And I like having little gaps in between complete thoughts, almost like in between paragraphs, just to give a little breathing room. Not too big, just enough so it's not just jumping from one point to the next. So let's keep going down this path. What have we done?
Land animal, reaching top speeds of land animal.
I heard a little glitch there, so I'm just gonna pull in just a hair on both sides, see what I get.
Land animal, reaching top speeds of over 70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun the cheetah, it can outrun the gazelle, and it's doing all that on only 2 legs, which is, which is amazing. They're also very, very smart birds. It's amazing.
I'm going to cut out that, which is amazing, just to see it. Now, again, we're talking about gaps.
And it's doing all that on only 2 legs. They're also very, very smart bird.
Well, sometimes I would add a gap here, but I certainly don't need to. I actually like how it jumps right from one to the next.
Only 2 legs. They're also very, very smart birds.
I'm going to leave the gap just as a, just to show you, just because this is an example. We're not trying to cut together the perfect video, but I don't think I need a gap there.
2 legs. They're also very, very smart birds. You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through complex problems, such as...
I know I repeat this, so I'm going to cut it right now.
Working through...
I'm going to blade.
Complex problems, such as... You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through complex problems.
All right, so I know I'm watching the waveforms here is how I know where I start and stop speaking. I'm going to drag this end of the clip. I'm going to trim that to right where I make a complete sentence.
You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through complex problems, such as problems in advanced algebra or working through questions in theology. So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the chickens and have these kind of deep moments right here in the backyard.
And that's it. I'm going to drag the end. So again, I'm just selecting ends and dragging them. It really is 90% of what I do.
You'll often come to the Coop and find them smart.
So obviously, here's where I repeat.
You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through. You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through.
I don't need to hear that twice. So
they're also very, very smart birds.
As you can see, this is the part that gets repeated. I'll just drag. If I don't want to drag, I can just click it, hit Command B, select it, and delete.
You'll often come to the Coop and find them working through complex problems, such as...
All right, so there is our video. And this is a weird thing I like to do. No one else does it. I'm going to hit Option W, and I like to add a little space in front. Just a personal way I like to see my timeline. So I have a very clear start and a very clear end to my, just for me visually. And so this is the magnetic storyline. You can't just grab this clip and move it somewhere. It is magnetic. It sticks back in there. However, if I decide this part of the clip should be at the end, which obviously it shouldn't, but I can just move it to the end, and there we go. It sticks to the end. I'm going to undo that. If I decide this whole area should be at the start, I'm just going to move it to the start, and again, it just falls into the primary storyline. All this stuff is magnetized, and I can just move it around, and it fits itself right into the storyline. So this is where you build the bulk of your story. If you're doing your interviews, if I'm doing a music video, I put my music in the primary storyline because the music is what's going to it's going to take me from point A to point B. If I'm doing interviews, I put them in the primary storyline because the interview is taking me from point A to point B. If I'm doing, a narrative film, it's shot by shot is going to take me from point A to point B. I guess the question is, how do I get shots into the storyline? The easiest way is to click and drag. I almost never do that. I really like using my shortcut keys. The shortcut keys I use are Q, W, and E. They're at the top left of your keyboard. Q, W, and E. If I want to put a shot at the end, I hit E for end. It actually means append, I think, or something like that. But I have my own mnemonic devices for it. So I put it at the end. If I want to put it right in between two shots in the magnetic storyline, you see where my playhead is here. If I want to put it in between, I can click it and drag it, and it'll fit the shot in between those two clips. But a faster way for me is to hit W. I don't even know what the W might stand for. I call it wedge because it wedges the clip in between the other two clips. It's really helpful for the way I think I make up mnemonic tricks all the time to memorize shortcuts. I can't just remember the W. I have to think of it as a word. It's just, again, how my mind works, so maybe it'll help you out. So I wedge it in there. Now we're going to move on to the next piece, which is connected clips. How do we connect a clip? To connect a clip, I'm going to hit Q. And instead of going into the storyline, I'm going to hit it right now, 2, 3, 2, 1, Q. It pops onto the top of the storyline. So now this clip is connected to the clip underneath it. Now, when I move this clip, actually, let's move this to the front. See that line? Oh, there we go. That's an interesting way. You can see that line. That is where the clip is connected to. So, if I move this clip to the back, everything connected to it stays with it. I'm going to undo that. Command Z. If I connect this clip over here, as I move this, everything connected to the clip that I moved stays with the clip that it moved. And I can do this all day long. I can bring down, I'm going to hit Q, whoops. I'll grab another random piece, Q. I'll grab another random piece. And so all of these are now
70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun
connected. Wherever I move, the main clip from my primary storyline, all the connected clips move along with that clip. So they're all connected to it. So again, the primary storyline and this gray area are obeying a totally different set of rules. Wherever I move a clip from my primary storyline, all the clips connected to it go with it. And it's easy to unconnect it. All I have to do is move it, and you can see now it's connecting to different clips. Now, those are connected. And the chicken clip here has nothing to do with this part of the primary storyline. Let's make sure.
an animal reaching tops.
Yes, okay. And we want to start somewhere here, so I'm just going to trim the start of this clip.
All right, hello. We're going to do a quick tour of the chicken coop.
Maybe we'll start with a few chickens first. This is going to be so boring for you to watch me edit, so I'm just going to grab stuff pretty randomly. I'm not trying to make a great video here.
All right, hello. We're gonna do a quick tour of the chicken coop. These are.
All right, these are the chickens. Let's make sure we see the chickens. There they are. I'm gonna set I can set an in point and an out point. I'm just gonna click and drag, grab some chickens. Let's see what we got here.
All right, hello. We're gonna do a quick tour of the chicken coop. These are the 6 chickens. What a lot of people don't know.
I don't like that in there, so
These are the 6 chickens.
I'm gonna come down to my primary storyline. Command B to cut the to cut it right before the and then I'm just gonna drag, and look, the whole thing moves very nicely. I don't have to worry about the clips that are connected, the clips above it going out of order, because they're connected.
These are the 6 chickens. What a lot of people don't know is that chickens are actually What a lot of people don't know is that
I'm going to cut the out again. A lot of people don't go this crazy. If you got a short piece, you may as well, and it doesn't take that long.
Chickens are actually the fastest land animal, reaching top speeds.
Okay, I think I have some chickens running in here. Yes, I chased this chicken around the house. Okay. Where did she start running? There she is. Running, 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 running. All right, so I'm going to pull this down. Chickens are the fastest land animal.
Land animal, reaching top speeds of over 70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun the cheetah, it can outrun the gazelle, and it's doing all that on only 2 legs.
Okay, so now I have this gap, which obviously looks terrible. And so I need to cover that up. I'm thinking somewhere where I see just 2 legs. All right, there we go. There's a chicken on 2 legs. Oh, also I have a gap right here, which I want to cover up. So this clip works perfect.
Legs. They're also very, very smart birds. You'll often come to the coop and find them working through complex problems.
Let's see if we can get the group together working through complex problems. There they are, working through complex problems.
And find them working through complex problems, such as problems in advanced algebra, or working through questions in theology. So it's a real pleasure to just theology.
And again, I repeat pleasure here.
So it's a real pleasure to. So it's a real pleasure.
That's gonna be a little tougher one to cut, but let's see how, or to trim up. Let's see how we do it.
Real pleasure.
Right here, so where I say it twice. Again, I'll blade that and drag. It's no magic happening.
So it's a real pleasure to just. You
know, I'm gonna try to cut it in a different spot. I'm going to try to cut it to use the first pleasure rather than the second pleasure.
So it's a real pleasure to just.
Yeah, I think that's going to work. We'll see.
So it's a real pleasure to just.
Yeah.
Pleasure to just. It's a real pleasure to just. Real pleasure to just. Real pleasure to just. So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the chickens.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it this way because it's different than that. We're going to a whole different lesson on fine-tuning audio, which I don't want to go into. But a real simple thing, if it doesn't work, you add a little transition, or you add a transition, you shrink it all the way down, and sometimes it can like even out the problems.
So it's a real pleasure to just.
Doesn't sound good, but I'm leaving it and covering it.
So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the chickens.
Oh, it sounds too bad. I can't live with that. Okay, off on a tangent. You can fast forward all of this.
Pleasure to just. Pleasure. Real pleasure. Real pleasure to. It's a real pleasure to just.
Perfect. That's great.
So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the.
And again, I'm going to see if I add a transition and I shrink it all down, if it smooths it just a bit.
So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the chickens and have these kind of deep, deep moments right here in the backyard. Yard.
Okay, there's our whole video. Primary storyline, we've got all of our connected clips. One thing I may not have shown you is that we can put connected clips above other connected clips in a way that we can't do in on the primary storyline. So now it will show
2 legs. They're also very, very smart birds. You'll often come to the coop and find them working through complex problems, such as problems in.
It was actually kind of funny to see those clips move a little faster. But I'm going to leave this project as is. If you can do this, you're editing. 90% of the time, I'm living in this world that you've just seen. I'm in my select tool. I'm dropping clips into the primary storyline in order to create the story, and then I'm adding the connected clips, the B-roll you might call them, in order to make it pretty, in order to add scenery, in order to make the journey from point A to point B just a little bit more visually interesting, and well, hopefully a lot more visually interesting. And that's the bulk of editing, and that's understanding this project window, this primary storyline. There's a lot more to it, but I want to leave it there because if you can get this, you're 90% of the way there. This is only about 1% of what Final Cut Pro can do, if that. But this 1% of knowledge gets you 90% of the way there. Now, as I look at this, I realize that I want to just add a completely off-topic bonus piece because I want to be able to watch this. I'm going to open my inspector window here. So I'm just going to boost the highlights and lower the midtones a little and see if I can get just a little bit more color, a little more pop, because it's about chickens. That's a terrible look on my face. Great, I'm really going to leave it there. I'm going to select, and I'm going to paste it to all the rest of the clips. File, paste attributes, edit, paste attributes. I'm going to paste that color wheel onto all of them, and now it should add a little bit of color to this whole thing. Just so you can see what we did. I'll turn off the color wheels. We went from kind of a little bit duller to a little bit brighter clip, and that seems more appropriate. So let's watch the video we've made. You know what? Now let's add a little music to it. Why not? Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Let's throw that down here, and we're just going to lower the volume. I know it's going to be much too loud, so just a little background.
All right, hello. We're going to do a quick tour of the chicken coop. These are
Well, it's taking a while to kick on.
complex problems such as.
All right, so music took a while to kick in. I'm going to go ahead and move. Wow, I'm starting to move so fast now. Okay. Again, just clicking and dragging the ends and just trimming the clip, moving it around. There we go. Command T puts a fade on the in and the out point, and this video's done.
All right, hello. We're going to do a quick tour of the chicken coop. These are the 6 chickens. What a lot of people don't know is that chickens are actually the fastest land animal, reaching top speeds of over 70 miles an hour. The chicken can actually outrun the cheetah, it can outrun the gazelle, and it's doing all that on only 2 legs. They're also very, very smart birds. you'll often come to the Coop and find them working through complex problems, such as problems in advanced algebra, or working through questions in theology. So it's a real pleasure to just hang out with the chickens and have these kind of deep moments right here in the backyard.
Well, I think we have a classic on our hands. Look out, Citizen Kane. All right. Well, if you have any questions, you know what to do. We've got our Facebook group. You can, post your question there, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of answers. And as always, the best way is just, I can talk till I'm blue in the face. But until you start working with it, it's really hard to learn it unless you start working with it. See how it feels to play in the primary storyline. See how it feels to connect clips, and then, if you have questions, YouTube has amazing tutorials. So you can find people who are really dedicated to teaching Final Cut and are really dedicated to making great videos for you for free. So it's an amazing resource. All right, that's it for week 12. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.